In 2024, the financial picture for the average American, not any of you, but for the average American, is one of mounting pressure, rising debt, stagnant wages, and ongoing struggle to save for the future. Inflation's going up, with over $1 trillion in collective credit card debts, the highest ever, skyrocketing student loans, almost $2 trillion, and homeownership slipping further out of reach, average over $400,000 for a home. Many families are feeling the pinch now more than ever before. Yet, in the midst of these challenges, there are strategic ways to reclaim control of your money and create financial momentum, and it starts with our thinking. Today we'll explore the mounting financial pressures the average American is feeling, show the thinking that has landed us in this sticky predicament, then offer a solution that could give your family a perpetual tailwind and advantage over the average American today. Let's jump into it. Great to see you all here. You know, if you're new, smash the like button. If you're new here, subscribe. And if you ring the bell, like Connor says, it might just turn blue and you're being alerted to new content. And at the end, you can schedule a free strategy session with me at the end. we've helped thousands and thousands of people like you turn around their financial situation for the better by changing just one thing. But let's look at this wall of stats. I'm not so good in the sheets like some of my peers, but still, I love to look at stats because it gives us a good idea of where we're currently at collectively. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And when we look at these stats, they're shocking. That average median national income is a little over $74,000. But here's an interesting point in that. That's only 12.1% of Americans. So whether you're above that line or below that line, you know kind of where you fall. The average annual salary in the U.S. is at $59,428. 39% of households, that is over 134 million people, have less than $1,000 saved. 134 million people have less than $1,000 saved. On average, America is saving less than 5%. Why are we in such financial straits? Put it in the chat. What are you guys thinking? What is the thing that has us in such financial straits? Like, look at our credit card debt. Look at the average household credit card debt per house, student loan debt, the average auto loan balance. Look at all these things. Well, the conversation I'm having over and over again, we've been groomed to think a certain way. We've been groomed to give up control of our money. We've been taught, hey, we're just going to be depositors and then we're going to be creditors or debitors back from those accounts. And those are what we do in our financial life. That is what the average American's doing. And again, anyone here is not average because you're already investing in your most valuable resource, your thinking. It's our thinking. That's the answer to my question there. Remember, there's nothing complicated with anything I teach you because it's simple with Sipple. That's part of the journey. And it's our thinking and the fact that we're unaware of the problem. We're unaware of the problem. We're unaware of the game we're playing. How can we ever be good at a game we don't know how to play? That'd be like taking a bunch of people that have never seen American football, sticking them on the field, throwing them the weird shaped ball that's called a football, even though there's very little kicking, and saying, go nuts, play a game. But then start blowing a whistle at them all the time because they're not playing right. That's insanity. And that's what we're doing collectively, and that's why these financial stats are where they're at. There's no other explanation because people aren't dumb, right? We can do a lot of amazing things. We are amazing. We are good. That is my personal belief. People are good. Some people try to prove me wrong. Some people can be kind of difficult, but I always look, hey, it's just our little inner person yelling in that moment, right? Now let's look at this. How many times have you guys heard around either the water cooler or maybe you're out to dinner, and pop yes in the chat if you've heard this before, but you hear guys and gals talking about investing. Talking about investing to get money out of the little bit of money they have left over, right? Investing in different things. I hear it all the time on the phone, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's into like an Acorn account, whether it's into real estate, whether it's into stocks, whether it's into mutuals, whether it's into even something as conservative as CDs, right? Everybody's always talking about how can we take the little bit of money that's left over and grow it into something in the future, for our future self, for the things that we want to do, for the extra money, for the extra thing. And think about, why are we doing that? Why are people doing that? It's pretty simple. If we really think about it, it's because there's very little belief that our systems that we're currently investing in are going to work for our future. So we're always looking for some other little thing that's going to give us a little bit extra money, because it's not our jobs. It's not what we're creating all the time, right? We don't feel that confident. We already know that the Social Security system's not going to work. We already have a good feeling that qualified plans are going to really work. And I've said this before, and I'll definitely say it again. We talked about it last week. But the banks are what? The banks are not our friends. The banks aren't our friends, folks. Shane knows this, Joshua knows this, Emmett knows this. The banks aren't our friends. And Shakespeare said, all of the world is a stage, right? Whether you like Shakespeare or not, that's here or there, but think about that. If all the world's a stage, that means we are just in a giant play. And so what are the financial players in our life? What roles are we playing currently? Pop it in the chat, pop it down below. What roles do you play in your financial life? You make money and then you do what? You make money and then you deposit money. So you are, number one, a depositor. And then when you need the money, you've already given your money legally to the banks and you no longer own the money, because now they're obligated to pay you an interest rate, even if it's less than 0.07%. There's still an obligation, so it's a liability to the bank. And they have to give you money back. So now you take money back as a creditor. So we are depositors and creditors, or depositors and borrowers. Those are the two roles that we're really used to. And then when we think about the big play, who's the wealthiest? Who's the one making the most money off of your hard-earned money? Tell me, the average American, who's making the most money off of our hard-earned money? When I saw this, it bleeped me off. If I was Chris Noggle, I'd be cussing right now, right? It made me upset when I learned the banks are getting 400 to 1,300% annually on every dollar I put there. And when I realized, wait a minute, the power of this whole system is in taking back the function or the role of owning the bank. Of owning the bank and then being the banker, the verb, as I always talk about, the action of banking. Learning how to do the things. Yes, Joshua, you got it. Banks. And we've covered this before. We show you, you work hard. You trade time, energy, your brain power, your physical power for hard-earned money, and then we give up control of it because we've been groomed to do so. We never even stop to say, wait a minute, is this the best thing for me and my family and my future legacy? Wouldn't you want to be the lead role? Wouldn't you want to be the owner of the bank and the banker? That's possible. We'll get into that, but first we're going through the average American's predicament. Accumulation theory. This is what's been taught to us, right? We're all taught, let's save up a big pile of money, as much as we can. And depending on how much you earn every year, you figure out the math. I earn $100,000 a year. I'm going to need $3 million to retire at this age. And we scrimp and we save and we pinch pennies until our fingers are black and blue. They hurt. And budgeting sucks. It is not fun. But understanding how to take control of your money and being in control of it, well, that's a different situation. That can be fun. So we're showed we have to save a big pile of money. And then for retirement, quote unquote retirement, another false pretense. And then we're going to draw down the money. And then we're going to live comfortably off this till we die. How many variables did I just introduce? I want to get you guys thinking. Interact with me. How many variables, guys? Right? We're accumulating money. We're going to retire at some age, 65, 60, 67, 70. And then we're going to draw down the money and live comfortably right off into the sunset with our kids, our grandkids, our lifestyle. And then we're not going to give a flip. We're going to do whatever we want, say whatever we want. We're going to be kids again and have fun in our older years. But what variables aren't we talking about? Do you, anyone here, know how long you're going to live? I don't. I have no idea. One variable. Second variable, what are taxes going to be when you retire? I just turned 50. What are taxes going to be in 17 years if that was a real retirement number for me? Have no flipping idea, right? I have no idea. What's inflation going to look like? What's the market going to look like? Any one of these variables is going to have a huge impact on how we have accumulated money and how long that money is going to last, or if it'll last us at all, or if it'll even be there, depending on where it's at. So when we look at this, look at people with a median balance of $120,000 between the age of 55 and 64. Is that going to be sufficient for anyone to retire? And we've got these financial entertainers. We got Dave Ramsey, buy term, invest the difference. We have a white paper showing you how that's false. Right? You got Susie Orman saying the same thing. How is that working out for people? Now, I do appreciate they teach discipline, but they also break your growth mindset. They break your interest and put you in a defensive mode. What a travesty, right? Think about the last time you went to the grocery store and you see people that could be your parents, or maybe they're your age, and you know they want to retire. You know they don't want to be taking your money when you're buying groceries and hearing you complain about how much it costs to feed your family. Or if you go to a fast food restaurant, you got teenagers and you've got elderly folks. They're there because only 5% of Americans retire with financial security, meaning they don't have to go back to work. Too many variables. And why am I saying this? Because I just want to keep challenging your thinking. Every slide is designed today to show you the average American, to show you the problem, and to show you that many, not you guys, but many don't know the game we're playing. And so look at this, look at these statistics here. The government, before pre-1913, check all Jason Sipple's facts, before 1913, our country had a surplus. 1913 introduced two things that have changed everything. These two things were introduced. And what were they? One was a central banking system. And two was the IRS, which is now a book of over 7,700 pages, which I believe is the longest book in history and added to every year. And now, and that's just a playbook of how we pay the minimum amount of taxes that we have to pay, which is a great way to keep more of your wealth, right? Our uncle, he gives us a playbook. We just have to become adept at playing that game, but I'm going to give you guys an easier game as we go through this. Now, the people are confused. Now they think that wait and hope is a plan. Is hoping ever a plan? Answer in the chat, yes or no. Is hope ever a plan? It's great to have faith. It's amazing to be grateful. But is hope ever a plan? This plan, this stock ownership, stocks up and down. Can you make money in the stock market? Of course you can. I have many friends that are millionaires and they're day traders and they're making tons of money in their stocks, right? It can do great things for you. So I'm not saying the market is bad. I'm just saying unless you really know, like, and understand it, this plan that's put together by our government, by our country, is really like we make a problem and then we offer the solution to the problem. What's that feel like to you guys? Kind of feel like that is the proverbial fox guarding the chicken coop. So yeah, I'm not going to eat those. My favorite food, eggs and chickens, but I'm not going to eat them. I'm just going to guard them for you. Something makes me think, doesn't seem like the best strategy, right? And then look at the median net worth. And net worth, if you guys forget, just remember, simple financial terms, net worth is just assets minus liabilities. What are assets? Not but assets. Assets are everything you own with monetary value. That's your investments, your savings, your cash, your equity in your home or your car. And liabilities, change one letter, are everything you owe. O-W-E. Loans, mortgages, accounts payable, credit cards. The average median net worth is $120,000. Pretty low considering that the average wage was $59,000, right? Why don't, like in 3 years, we have more? Because we're spending more than we save. We're spending more than we save. Feel like we're beating this to death, but look at the stress this is causing. When people ask me, Jason, why infinite banking? Why would I do this? I always ask, why wouldn't you? Well, when should I start? When's a better time than now? But then I've talked to, again, thousands and thousands of people. It's impossible not to feel the collective stress of the average American. Chris keeps a swear jar on his desk because he cusses so much because he's outraged. You know, he's paying penance for being a financial advisor for 16 years and not asking better questions himself. But the man is America's #1 money mentor when it comes to finances because he knows that game. And he can tell you it doesn't typically work out the way that we believe it will. Giving up control of your money to somebody else because you don't have the time or you don't believe you're smart enough is not true. So again, back to our thinking, so many people want a solution, again, because they're not seeing the problem yet. Maybe it's the quality of the questions that we're asking ourselves. Maybe? Do you guys think that would be fair? Do you guys want to hear some good financial questions? Can I get a yes in the chat if I get some good financial questions? Write these down if you want. They're also going to be available later for you, but here's the first question. Do I see money as a tool for growth or just something to cover my bills and buy what I want? How do I see money? Number 2, am I in control of where my money goes each month? Or has everything been set up and money comes in and it just leaves and is gone forever? How often do I pay myself? You know, are you paying yourself first? Remember the commandments. Love God, all of our heart, mind, and soul. Number 1, right? God, heart, mind, soul. 2, love thy neighbor. My neighbor Charles, my neighbor Dave. Love thy neighbor like thyself. Which means, numerically, biblically speaking, we've got 1 God, 2 self, 3 neighbor. Then why the heck are we going 1, 3, 2? Pay yourself first, everything will change. It just means love yourself a little bit more. Do I know exactly how much I spend and where it's going? Are you financially weighing in is another way to ask that. Again, am I paying myself first? How often do I pay myself? Am I setting money aside for my future before spending on expenses? Am I relying too heavily on loans, credit cards, or other forms of debt? How much interest am I paying out to others? How do I handle unexpected expenses or emergencies? And with a simple change in frame being where are you today, what is your frame, what is your belief system around money, remember you're the author, the writer, and the actor in your financial play. Don't you want a happily ever after? I want that for you, but I can't want it for you more than you want it for you. Let's move on with some more questions. And this slide just shows you, the last slide showed you ownership of homes versus renters, which is going to get harder and harder for people to buy, especially with big corporations buying all these home tracts. That's been a big topic within our circle. And then you got the health versus life insurance. People are insured out the wazoo for health, even though we're living longer than ever, but we know how expensive it is and how hard it is to get reimbursed for these things. So we all feel we should have great health insurance. Let's not worry about our life insurance as much. And here's some more questions for you to reshift that frame. I wonder what the wealthy are doing different. How can I do what the wealthy are doing? What strategies have made them wealthy? Where do I keep my emergency fund? Do I have an emergency fund or do I rely on borrowing when things go wrong? That put us in debt multiple times. Remember, everything I'm teaching you guys, telling you guys, it's because I them up in the past. I've messed them up. I've had things go wrong. I have been out of debt with 3 months of savings, something happens and lost all the money again. I've made bad investments. I have made all the mistakes that I'm helping others avoid today. What financial habits are keeping me in a cycle of living paychecks to paycheck? 60% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. It's probably more than that, but some people don't have paychecks. What small daily habit can I change today to start saving more or spending less? Am I growing my income source? Am I growing my skills? Or am I just depending on one? Do I just show up to get paid? Or am I going and adding value? Are there opportunities to increase my income, such as a side hustle or investments? How can I start to gain that financial, perpetual, guaranteed tailwind? Or, said differently, how can I become the bank owner, become my own banker? What steps could I be or take to be in more control of my money rather than letting others, like the banks, government, benefit from it? Am I investing in my future or just covering my present needs? Am I thinking about future John, future Jeanette, future Frank, future Emmett, future Joshua, and on, right? Joseph. Am I thinking about my future self? But am I also loving myself presently? What percentage of my income is being saved or invested for long-term growth? Remember, in The Richest Man in Babylon, the first principle of the 6 principles of wealth is what? Save 10%. Pay yourself first. If you're living at home, if you're with your parents, 25, 30, 40, 50% should be being saved because you don't have the cost of renting, owning, mortgages. And have I created a plan to move just beyond making ends meet? Have I looked out in the future and let my future, my dreams pull me like a magnet? Like Jim Rohn talks about, your future dreams should be so big and mean so much to you that they're going to pull you like a magnet to that future. Again, smash the like button. If you're new here, subscribe. Ring the bell to be alerted to new content. At the end of this call, I'm going to post a training, a free training for you, and a way that you can speak with me and get a strategy session to learn more about the infinite banking concept. And the next big question, it's the biggest question for all of you. I want you to think about this, write this down, journal about it later. What's your why? Your ultimate why. And every time you answer, I want you to peel it back 7 layers. My why is my family. Why? My why is my family because they are my legacy. Why is your legacy important? My legacy is important because I want to be remembered for adding more value to this world than I ever took. Why? I'm doing this live. I just hadn't thought about this before, but I think about it a lot. So just peel back the onion for you. What's your why? If you're having this discussion 3 years from today and you're looking back over those 3 years, what has to have happened in your life, both personally and professionally, for you to feel happy with your progress? Because why? Progress equals happiness. So let's take a little quick fun detour. Again, you guys are different. Acknowledge all of you that are here today. It's amazing that you're investing your time, your energy, and your focus to learn something new financially. I hope there's a takeaway that you can go and share with someone else. Because remember, we're here to what? Train, to learn something new, to test ourselves, to put it into action, to make notes, not just take notes, and then to go and teach somebody else. Teaching is the ultimate way to get better at this. And trust me, going and trying to teach what I'm going to teach you in the next half will just drive you crazy. So stay around the campfire with other like-minded folks, interact, exchange information, do all you want to build that community. Have you guys heard this? Do you guys remember when this happened? Pop it in the chat if you remember. It's the day Tiger Woods moved a boulder with his mind. With his mind. Legally. In a match. Do you guys remember this? Anybody? Give me a yes if anyone remembers this. The 1999 Phoenix Open. My grandmother, I don't know why, but she was a huge Tiger fan. She loved him, thought he was cute. My nanny. And Tiger found himself in an unusual predicament. His tee shot from the par 5 13th hole had settled in behind a massive boulder. There was no way to get to the ball, no way to hit the ball. Usually Tiger would get in there and make all these kinds of crazy shots to get out, but the ball was lodged under the boulder. A 1-ton boulder. What would have every other golfer in that tournament did or done? Or you, what would you have done? You would have taken a drop, right? You would have taken a drop. You would have taken a penalty, a 1-stroke penalty. But Tiger walked around, looked at it, looked at the boulder, looked at the ball, looked at the fans, and he had a strategy. He started to think differently. Remember the example of the backwards bicycle that we show in our training? He started to think differently, and Tiger started getting the fans a little rowdy. And he started getting them pumped up. You guys think you can move that boulder? And the fans came, and they tried. They tried to move that boulder. A bunch of big burly guys, probably a little bit drunk, got there and started trying to lift this boulder. Bend your knees, don't wreck your back, you know? Get in there, move the boulder, don't touch the ball. And they got in there and they couldn't move it. And he got them a little bit more fired up, juiced up, a little bit more adrenaline, enthusiastic they were. And after several attempts, the boulder finally yielded. It moved to the collective force of the fans. It shifted a quarter turn, just a quarter turn, a 1 ton, that's a weight of your car or more. A 1 ton boulder, these fans moved it. They created a sliver of space and Woods was able to get in there. He got into the shot, he hit it over the green into the bunker and ended up birdieing the hole. Everyone else would have lost a point. The rules, the committee got together afterwards and said there was nothing wrong with what he did. Other than most people don't have the fan base that Tiger does, but he birdied the hole. And he did it because he thought differently. So I'm just offering this as a moment for you guys to think, hey, I've gotten to here and things aren't working. That's why you're here. You're here because you want to learn how everything going forward can be better than it has been in the past. And you, again, are the author. You're the writer and the actor and actress in your play. So let's look at taking control of the financial environment. Nelson talks about this in Becoming Your Own Banker, how an airplane, I'm not a pilot, but Nelson was since the 40s, and Brent, who started the Money Multiplier, they're both pilots. My partner for my new podcast is a pilot, Special Forces pilot. So we're surrounded by pilots. So I hear a lot about being a pilot, but I'm not. And that's okay. I can tell the story. You don't fly a plane through a vacuum. There's always weather. And usually weather, right, the fronts are gonna, you guys, cold fronts, warm fronts, you guys heard fronts. When you look at the weather, we talk about the weather. I don't do small talk, when we talk about weather, you always want to consider the weather conditions when flying. We look, hey, is it going to be lightning in Florida? Is it going to be hail? Is it going to be this or that? But if you have a front come in, say you're flying out of Birmingham and you're going to go to Chicago, but you have a 300 or 245 mile an hour headwind. Well, if you headed from Birmingham to Miami, you'd be going 345 miles an hour because you have a 240 mile an hour tailwind and you're going 100 miles an hour. You guys following? Can I get a yes in the chat if you're following? But if you're trying to go to Chicago, you better get on the ground. You better be patient. You better wait because you can't control the environment, right? Most people are trying to fly into that headwind, like I was talking about, around the cooler, saving very little of their money, trying to make that 100 mile an hour plane top speed go 105 miles an hour, 103 miles an hour, just fighting and fighting against that force, that big force that they have no control over. But what if you did have control over that? What if you could just land and wait till the weather changes and is behind you? All of a sudden, with that tailwind, you're going 345 miles an hour to Chicago. That makes your travel times 3 times faster. But actually the difference is 690 miles an hour because you're no longer flying into a headwind. Now you have a tailwind. Does this make sense? Most people are trying to find ways to get their economic future, their plane, to just operate a little bit more efficiently rather than looking and seeing what's really happened in their life. So if we all took the time, and thank you for all the yeses, most people are going to be able to take back control of their money by changing the one thing, by creating a perpetual tailwind. And this is the infinite banking concept. People ask me all the time, I want to see an illustration, I want to do this, which company is the best? I answer all those questions. And what company is the best is any company that's never missed a dividend, that's A+ rated or better, that supports infinite banking, that has good customer service, that is one of 10 companies in the country, and we work with 6 of them, right? We've taught, and this is just going to go through this a little faster, we've taught over 17,000 families and counting. The goal is millions of families, remember 10% of America, to gain this perpetual tailwind, to build, keep, and create more wealth. And here's another thing the average American is ignoring. The guaranteed investment that is their collection of debt with predatory rates. If I asked you guys if you could have a 24.5% annual guaranteed return, would you take that deal? Guaranteed. Signed in the contract. Already done deal. You don't even have to transfer money anywhere else. Would you guys take that deal? Can I get a yes? You would. You'd be like, What's wrong? What are you talking about? We can't trust you, Jason. Not a 24.5% return. That's too good. Earlier today, I talked to a couple with a $20,000 timeshare, $465 a month, 16% amortized interest, which is probably 30+% over that period of time, that 15 or 30 years. When they create their infinite banking cash value, when they change where their surplus money goes that's sitting in savings, they put it into this account, they flow that out, and they pay off that 16%, $465 a month interest, and then they circle it back into their paying themselves right back. Just the circle, right? They complete the circle, they pay themselves back. All of a sudden, they've given themselves a guaranteed 16.5% return. That's how simple this is. And somehow, we don't wrap our heads around it. And that's okay. Just say, I don't get it yet. Just keep watching this. Keep learning. And all of this starts with financially weighing in, with adding value to yourself. Keep in mind, what is money? It's a means of exchange. And like God's law, money must stay in motion to be healthy and to make more money. Money attracts money, or the golden rule comes in mind here. He who has the money, she who has the money makes the rules. And all we mean by that is you have to be ready for the potential opportunities that are going to come out. And so we can manage our debt. This is building more wealth with infinite banking. We can gain control of our financial environment by understanding the game we're in. Remember Tiger moving the boulder with his mind? Remember Nelson Nash waiting for that tailwind versus trying to fly a plane into a headwind that goes almost 3 times as fast as the plane's top speed? And we can invest in our future as well. Remember, it's our thinking. If we look at the 5 principles of Nelson Nash, 1, right? Think long term. Think multi-generationally. Think as if I'm going to live forever and live as if I'm going to die today. That's how I want to live my life. Anybody else want to live their life like that? And then 2 is don't be afraid to capitalize. That means put money into your system. Remember the 2nd commandment? Yourself, then neighbor. Yourself, then neighbor. Of course, God's always first. He's got a plan for us, people. And it's to be creators. And then, after we've taken back control of our debts, we're going to keep the money in our family by financing the things that we need, that we're going to buy anyhow. And then we're going to build more wealth by either creating an asset, something we know, like, and understand, investing in our futures, finding ways to make our money grow. These are slides just showing you different strategies, like a homeownership strategy with IBC. Grow the cash value, which, remember, this is going to take time to compound enough cash value to take back control of your mortgage, whether it's a $50,000, $100,000, $400,000. It's going to take time. You're going to borrow against the cash value. You're going to pay that money back to yourself. And then I always tell people, ask the question, what is my cash flow in this situation? Maybe paying it off, even though it makes you feel the best, mindset. Maybe the math of it says you should find a way to invest it, get a bigger rate of return. Now you have some cash flow and you're paying your mortgage. I don't know. It's up to you guys, right? We're only hampered by our thinking. And this whole presentation today, this whole webinar is around our thinking. Income opportunities through IBC. Imagine that you want to be in control of a fleet of cars. Imagine that you go and you rent a bunch of high-end vehicles and then you lease them back to doctors, because doctors are going to lease them anyhow. Why don't they just lease them from you? You're giving them a better deal and now they're leasing them from your bank and you're making cash flow. And then you just keep expanding your fleet. I just gave you guys a way to make passive income and maybe replace your current income. There's all of these opportunities here for all of us. And so I'm going to wrap this up by saying, remember, we finance everything we buy. You guys believe that? Can I get a heck yes or a yes? We finance everything we buy. We either pay interest or we earn interest, or if we pay cash, which a lot of my people who are doing financially well, savers, my savers of the world, they want to pay cash, you give up the opportunity for your money to earn interest. Why not have your money earning a guaranteed contractual interest rate and then have different ways you can pay that back in the future? So just again, asking you guys, you got a heck yes from Emmett. Do you want to pay interest or earn interest? Do you want to be a financial slave? Yes, I'm using my words correctly. a financial slave, or financially free? What feels better to you? Do you want perpetual momentum with every day being better than the last one? All 4 of my contracts, every day I look at the cash value, guess what? It's increased. And guess what? That increase is guaranteed. Tomorrow's value will always be worth more than today. Like, that feels pretty good. Or are you okay with the booms and busts? Are you okay to accumulate money over time, to attach yourself to our Uncle Sam, and to hope and pray that one day, someday, you're going to have financial freedom? Remember, hoping's not a plan. Isn't it time for you to take back control? If you're like me, you want that freedom. You want what one of my best clients, a friend of mine, described as, Jason, I have the feeling. I said, all right, brother, go write that down. Remember that for when you get scared, for when fear pops, for when people tell you, you can't do that, you're crazy. You're crazy for wanting to do that. And the next day he called me excited. I'm driving back 14 hours from Nashville, and he said, Jason, the feeling was relief. I felt relief. How beautiful is that? That's what each and every one of you can give yourself back. Jeanette knows. She said, already been the slave. We've all been the slave. We didn't know the game we're playing. Give yourself permission and give yourself a hug. I didn't know the game I was playing. I was too damn lazy to ask. I thought I could just show up first, leave last, work hard, be humble, add value, manage people, help people. And every time I've made a financial change in my career, every time I said, hey, I can do that, but what's the cost of me? Like, I'm earning this much to do this. Am I making a positive impact in the world? And every single time I change in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and now, my decisions are always based, am I doing more good than leaving the world in a better place? So I believe you guys are all here for a reason. You guys, again, you can schedule a strategy call with me here. You don't have to. I don't want you to unless you really want to know this, but if you want to, you always have my availability. You can scan that. That'll bring you to a free training. And again, by adopting Nelson's simple philosophy, changing one thing, you can pick up a perpetual financial tailwind. You can transform your approach to debt, to savings, to investing, to building a guaranteed legacy. With IBC, you're not just surviving the financial storm we find ourselves in 2024. You're harnessing it to build lasting wealth and security for your future. Do you guys have any questions for me? I went a little longer today, but as you can tell, I am amped up, excited to share this, and blessed to be here with all of you. Thank you for being here. There's more and more coming in terms of education, teaching, things to support your journey. But at the end of the day, remember, like Henry Ford so succinctly said, you either think you can or you think you can't. And either way, you are correct. Either way. So, slavery, freedom. What's your choice? Book a call with me if you are really ready to go on this journey and have some questions about how this can change your life, or don't. No attachment from me. 2024, financial doom and gloom. Booms and busts. Market fluctuation. Jobs reducing. Job pay staying stagnant. Inflation raising. All of the different uncertainty is weighing down on America. We're barely saving. We're barely surviving. And why? Why is our thinking? And it's not our fault. It's not your fault. It's because we've been groomed to give up control. We're playing a game that we cannot win because we do not understand the rules of the game. How'd you like to understand the rules of the game? Today we've covered everything that you need to know. By changing just one thing, you will change everything in your financial future for the better. So again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and ring the bell so it'll turn blue to be alerted for new content. I'll see you guys in the next video. We're going to talk more about math and mindset and how infinite banking and changing one thing can change everything for your life. Be blessed. I'll see you guys next week.